Hey all, Hiba here. So today we're checking out the Agile Tashkent again, and we're going to probably do a few videos on the ship here in the next coming days, because I don't think I have been playing it a lot lately. But first, don't forget to subscribe, like and share if you enjoy this video, guys. I read all comments, so don't hold back. So what's special about this build is that I'm using Makarov on Tashkent. I'm also using Makarov on Udaloy and also on Khabarovsk, actually. It just turns what is technically a destroyer into a tiny cruiser, really. It's a fun and different build that I actually have quite good success with. It makes Tashkent probably the most entertaining ship to play in the game, because it's super fast, and with this build here the rudder is 1.4 seconds, meaning that it is just like playing an extremely agile cruiser. And I mean, you do have smoke as well. I would love if this ship had a sonar, it would make it perfect, but it would probably also be a little bit overpowered then. So you get 3 banks of torpedoes with 3 torpedoes each and an 8-kilometer range. So that makes the Tashkent a really good torpedo ship and also a really good gunboat, because you get a 4-second reload, and you have 3 turrets and 6 barrels, and you can sit in your smoke like here and just set fires on everything every 4 seconds. It's a lot of fun, and the ship just offers a lot of potential in different play styles, and any situation you encounter you should be able to work yourself out of. Now, the Tashkent is actually a destroyer flotilla leader, meaning that it's a tiny cruiser, and while it is designated a destroyer in the game, with this build here it's technically a cruiser, and I think that's how this boat works, or ship works best, because you can even put rumble on as an inspiration and then get nearly 14 kilometers of range on the guns, meaning that you can sit in pretty much total safety and just set fires over and over and over again. It does mean that by playing this ship you are pretty much giving up a destroyer slot for a cruiser, and that's the case no matter what build you put on Tashkent. I mean, it's never going to win any competitions in concealment or sneakiness. It's just not that kind of ship. So in my mind, I think it works best just to go all out on the cruiser aspect of the ship here and just totally ignore the destroyer aspect. And that gives you, in the end, a super fast, very agile cruiser with pretty much destroyer concealment, really. And that just allows you so many interesting plays that you can't do in a destroyer and you can't do in a cruiser. So this ship here fits in pretty much between cruisers and destroyers, and that's probably why I like it so much. It's the best of both worlds, really. So with this build here you forego concealment completely. We have double rudder on the ship, and the commander is a fully agile commander. That's why we can reach 1.4 second rudder and nearly 50 knots. This thing doesn't have a speed boost, so you don't need to pop the speed boost to reach those insane speeds, for example like the French destroyers. This thing here goes 45 knots all the time, really. And with 3 torpedo banks, I think it's the best Russian destroyer, because you only get 3 torpedoes per bank, but having 3 banks over 2 banks, I will always pick 3 banks, even if it means losing out on the total number of torpedoes. Because 3 banks just means that you can, you can set up more elaborate traps, really. You can fire 2 sets of torpedoes on each side of an island, and still have 1 set in reserve for whatever you need it for, and that has saved me in numerous occasions. And that's the main advantage of this ship over Khabarovsk and Udaloy. They both have only 2 launchers. Khabarovsk only has 6-kilometer torpedoes as well, so it's it's mostly a gunboat, really. Udaloy just has a larger bank of torpedoes, but like I said, I still prefer having 3 banks over 2. Now, if you can get into good situations like here, where you can sit unspotted and just set fires on battleships, that's where Tashkent really shines. And especially because if you keep like 11, 10 kilometers away from the enemies, you are really, really hard to hit, especially with an agile build, because you can wiggle like a madman, and it's more or less impossible to hit you at those distances. And of course, you'll just set fire after fire, because you only have a 4-second reload, and it just makes for really fun gameplay, really. And if you can't get into a situation like this, then you can obviously pop your smoke. Just keep in mind that you are obviously keeping yourself from spotting. So if you are spotting the ships yourself that you want to set fire to, then don't use your smoke, because then you won't be able to see them. So just keep that in mind. Just take a look at the hit points as well. We have 21,500 hit points on this thing here, and that's pretty much into cruiser territory on a ship that doesn't have a citadel. And that means that this thing can take a beating. And if you give up your smoke, you can actually put a heal on the ship as well. And that just makes it even tankier. And if you want to, you can pop Sims on there as well for another 2,000 hit points if you have him fully upgraded. Meaning that you'll get into 23,500 or something like that, plus heals. And that gives you just amazing staying power. And also, if you haven't noticed, you have double turrets at the front of the ship here, meaning that once you engage enemies, you can just stay bow on and present a very small target, and you still have 66% of your firepower. So it's not as good as at YOLOing as the Paolo Emilio, the Italian destroyer, but I think it's a very close second, because the speed at which this ship here moves, and with an agile build 1.4 second rudder, people only get one shot, and if they don't take you out, then it's just good night. And see here, I even keep one set of torpedoes in reserve in case I need it. And that's the beauty of having 3 banks. Friesland is one of my favorite destroyers to actually match up with in Tashkent, because Friesland, they don't have any torpedoes. So if you catch these guys off guard and you get within like 7 kilometers like I am here, there's just really nothing they can do, because Frieslands aren't very maneuverable. And right now I'm going nearly 45 knots, so I'm going to come bearing down on this Friesland here, and he has no idea what's happening. And of course I have torpedoes and he doesn't. So it's always a good, strategy to fire one bank of torpedoes before you engage the Friesland, and then see what happens. Of course I can't do it here, and it doesn't really matter because he's almost dead. So we'll just remove him with the guns there. So don't underestimate those Tashkent guns. They are excellent. And also the fact that you have most of your firepower in the front just makes it a very, very lethal ship. And really, all this ship needs is a sonar, and it is perfect. But like I said in the beginning, also way too powerful then. So I like Tashkent and Udaloy and Khabarovsk because they offer a little bit something different when you play destroyers. You don't have to go with the usual meta of destroyer builds, which is just, go very low on detection and put all your spec into guns or torpedoes, whatever you want, and that's it. No, Tashkent plays, like I said, like a cruiser, a miniature cruiser, and it just changes the whole dynamic when you play destroyers, because honestly, destroyers without sonar I find very boring to play, except for Tashkent, Udaloy and Khabarovsk. They're the only exceptions, and they're pretty much the only destroyers you'll see me play other than the Z39, because I want to have fun when I play this game. I primarily want to have fun, and these destroyers here, they give me the fun that I'm looking for, because they allow me to mix the best of destroyer gameplay with the best of cruiser gameplay. I would like to see more of these, cruiser destroyer hybrids in the game. I know there's a lot out in real life, and also the new auction ship, the Elbing, is also one of those hybrid ships. And although that one's a little bit disappointing if you ask me, it's still something that I would like to see more of in the game. And if we could get one with a sonar as well, that would be pretty good. I mean, the Friesland is a pretty good contester. I just need an Agile commander, and then I will turn the Friesland into an Agile cruiser as soon as the commander is available. But this was Tashkent, people. Still one of my favorite ships in the game. Just so much fun to play, and always a joy to take out, really. So hope you enjoyed the battle, guys, and I'll see you out there.